What's going on, guys?
Hey.
Anime Casuals here. I'm Lucky.
Johnny.
Michael
And we
and
make-
Jinbei and Guts and the microphone.
Oh, and Joseph Joestar.
And Jonas
And we all make up Anime Casuals. So, welcome today. And today we're going to be talking about our favorite anime-based video game. That's just a loose title. So anything that represents or has some type of anime attached kind of to it doesn't really matter. So yeah, why don't we go ahead and get started with Johnny?
Whoa.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, my decision, I've chosen Dragon Ball Z, Budokai 3. I played it on PlayStation 2. I actually don't know what else it was on.
They did a remake for, I think, the later generation, but that was kind of
Also PC if you modded it and you had a PC mod. But we won't talk about that.
Okay.
Don't mod, it's illegal.
Unless it's that Randy Savage mod, that shit's hot.
Randy Savage. That would have been good in Budokai 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, I chose Budokai 3. I'm a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, so, it was a pretty clear, decision. I got 1, I got 2, and, they were cool, but 3 was really probably the top one for me. And even looking forward, though DBZ Fighters is pretty cool, but I don't know, I feel like they just got kind of complicated in their fighting, which, complicated more means expansive, I guess, in what they can do. But Budokai 3 was really great because it was just a simple fighting game with a really expansive story. Lots of replay value, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, that's really true.
There's so much to do, and even when you go into the GT stuff a little bit, and that's fun, even though it's not canon, whatever.
It's not canon. It's not canon. We gotta put a label on this video now.
Not canon. And just so many characters. I never unlocked Cell Jr. That was always something that haunted me, to be honest. Just couldn't do it, that dumb Red Ribbon Army. But yeah, that's why I chose it. It's simple, had everything I wanted into it, and just super fun.
Nice.
So many things.
And it's not like Dragon Ball Xenoverse, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Although Dragon Ball Fighters is actually pretty good, and that's a fun game. But, it's a little too like Street Fighter, and that,
And this might be controversial, but fuck Tenkaichi. That shit sucks. That shit really sucks.
It had,
You went a bad direction with
Yeah,
that.
sorry about that.
it had all the good stuff, like like the 3D world environment move, where you can like move side to side around people.
Yeah,
the
that was
ultimates
really
are
fun,
cool.
flying to different events.
Dude, I still remember.
And fighting the dragon.
I still remember. Yeah, I remember just replaying it, and then all of a sudden, like, I think I was on planet Namek or something like that, and all of a sudden it was like fucking Cooler was there. I was like, this is weird. I don't remember that. Yeah, I was gonna say. Oh no, I was gonna say. I was like, what? I played through this like 5 or 6 times already, and all of a sudden there's something new here, or all of a sudden you fight Cell right after he gets out of his time pod or something like that. Yeah, and I was like, the fuck is this?
There's so many things you could find. I remember just like spending so long just flying over the map, slightly going more to the right every time. Scan the entire goddamn planet.
And it was almost like a fan created game because it was packed so full of stuff. And I gotta say, nice choice.
All right. So I guess I'll go with my game now.
The lucky.
To me. So my game was Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. I like all of them, but the fourth one just put A, you have all the characters from all the other games, and B, like, just the way one thing I liked about the Shippuden Ninja Storm games is that I'm just gonna call them Ninja Storms now because Shippuden's getting really redundant.
And that title is so long.
Yeah, and the Ninja Storm games, they tell the story a little bit differently because they have to put it in a video game. So, all of a sudden the fight with Hashirama and Madara has like a bunch of different components to it because that's the first thing you play in the fourth one. One thing I'm going to throw back to is from the second one is there was this moment where you have to fight Kakazu. I think that's the guy with the weird
the
the Akatsuki
guy with
guy.
all the hearts?
Yeah, with all the hearts and shit. And one thing that I liked about it is that it retells the story in a more, because in the anime, I guess I'm gonna go into spoiler territory if you haven't gone through this, but
Better watch Naruto right
better
now.
watch Naruto right
We're gonna
now.
play the video game.
Oh yeah, play the video game. It'll fill you in. I swear. It's a great way to fill yourself in. But anyway, you're playing in the second one, and you're instead of just kind of Naruto just using a clone and all of a sudden just tricking him like, oh my god, I can't believe it was a clone, and then just hitting him with one big ass technique. You actually have to fight. He actually has to fight Kakuzu, and it like you have to go through this big fight scene with him. And it shows like a lot of cool like little things where it's like, okay, Naruto is actually a really confident shinobi, instead of just like having like tricking somebody into a shadow clone and just using some kind of OP technique that. But the thing about the fourth one that I really liked was just the retelling of different kind of battles. You know, like what I just mentioned before, the Madara versus Hashirama battle was really fucking epic. It's like the first one that you go into, so you're just like, oh my god.
Get in that game.
Yeah, and one of the other things that I really enjoyed about it is it's just the ultimates when you do your ultimate jutsu on somebody and it's an ultimate finish. If they have some type of some type of interaction with each other in the anime, they'll say something like I think if you're like Kasame and you beat B with your ultimate finisher, he's like, see, sharks do eat octopuses, you know, that kind of shit. And you know, they'll say something kind of cool like that. And the other thing that was really great about the game is that it had combination ultimate jutsu. So if you had the right characters, one of my favorite ones is if you have like Sai, I think Sasuke and Naruto, all in like the newer versions of themselves. Like they'll do this big harem jutsu. They'll do a reverse harem jutsu, so it's just them all like half naked and shit, and then like Naruto's like he basically becomes like all the other characters. Like I think one of them is like the second Mizukage or something like that, and the guy with the big clamshell. and all of a sudden, like if there's a girl in there that happens to like one of those guys, I think if Karin's there, she'll like look at Sasuke and just faint. So yeah, they put a lot of detail in that game, and also the fighting mechanic is really cool. It's very like fast paced, so you kind of have to work your substitution jutsus like very. You have to be very conservative with them, or else because you only have about 4 of them, and they take forever to fucking recharge. So
Yeah, they do.
So that's the thing that I liked about it. The mechanics were great. The story, the retelling of the story was fucking awesome. And not too much of a retelling, but yeah. And also some of the moments in it. Like when Guy opens the 8th gate, another spoiler. But when Guy opens the 8th gate, it was a really emotional like fight for me. But I mean, I was drunk at the time, but that's not the point. But I just remember him. They do this thing where he's beating the shit out of Madara with Night Guy mode. And all of a sudden, when he's falling down, which doesn't actually happen in the anime, he's falling down and he looks at the camera and does this big like smile and a fucking thumbs up, and I broke down. I was like so torn up about that because he's one of my favorite characters, especially since they started shitting on Rock Lee. And so
it's Metal Lee time now.
Yeah, it's Metal Lee time, so it's time to shit on another Lee. All right, but yeah, that's basically one of my, and it's just. It's so easy to pick up and just
and those secret scenes, man. Like
yeah.
The ultimate, and it's like
that's
like,
true.
You super did it. So here's a little cut from the anime.
yeah. So yeah, you'd be able to do like a little secret. I mean, they've had that I think in all the other ones, but yeah, it was like I still remember in the third one when I was playing as you're playing as Minato in the beginning and you're fighting Toby. If you do the Rasengan, it'll do that little Rasengan thing. Where he teleports behind him and does that, and I was like, that was so cool! But yeah, so that's my pick for Ninja Storm, and now it's going on to
Jinbei!
Yeah!
What's up, Jinbei?
What's that? One Piece?
Oh, One Piece is his favorite movie.
Oh, damn, that's cool.
Yeah,
you have a particular one?
He said no comment.
Oh, okay, cool.
I will say one thing. Goddamn blocking in Naruto. The most annoying thing. But the rest of the game is really good.
Yeah.
Anyways, my game, being the only person who's played it in this group of anime casuals, sorry. I wasn't too casual about that.
Yeah, well, keep it casual.
Mine, I started playing these games since the 3rd iteration, and mine's Persona. All these games are super good because they have that kind of mixture of the almost a Final Fantasy-esque like turn-based, and then having like it slowly evolved a little bit more into like actually having battles and like a little bit more real-world like.
Yeah.
Because there's just an element of the battle mechanics that you are thieves, and all of them basically, going through people's mindscapes that are formed into whatever is a amalgamation of what they are. So there's an example. This one's really fun to me. There's a character I think in Persona 3 or 4 who's kind of a little bit closeted.
Yeah.
And you go inside of his brain because this time it's like you go into all the characters you're going to eventually unlock and help them free themselves of the evil that's inside.
You gotta do those loyalty missions.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like every single iteration is you go adventure into this mindscape and you like free it of an evil that's like tainting it because somebody else in the world is tainting these people and causing them to turn evil or worse than they are. And this guy's was like just basically it was a hot tub or no sorry a sauna.
Oh, okay.
Like springs.
Time machine.
Yeah, and anywhere you would walk around it would just be dudes. And like this guy was super punk on the outside and like but you could have a relationship with him in the game. And that's the other side of it is it's an RPG mixed with a dating simulator.
Oh, okay.
So during the day you can go like work a job to get money. Like every RPG you need a bunch of money.
Yeah.
You can go on a date with a certain character that you know to improve your relationship level, which then increases their own spirit. Or you could just meet random people who can also boost your other spirits that you yourself can control. And you're the only one that's special because you're the main character, plot armor, who can use any spirit. So you start with a main one, and then it goes, okay, hey, you got this special power. You can go collect them, kind of like Pokemon.
Yeah.
So it's like a weird fusion between capturing monsters, summoning them and fighting with them, and then RPG styles, and then like the coolest part about the battle mechanics there is that you can walk around, you can actually see the monsters moving around.
Yeah.
And then if you get behind them and you strike them, you get advantage, and you get
there
to go
you go.
first. If they attack you first, they get advantage. And I will say Persona 5 is currently my favorite. It is, weirdly enough, it kind of did what Kingdom Hearts did with their third one, is they opened it a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like Far Cry 4. They opened it like, hey, we'll make it a little bit more open so everybody can kind of get their hands in here. Which actually improved the game a lot because they were able to add so many really cool mechanics. Like, instead of going, okay, you don't know why you're doing this power and blah, blah, blah. Instead, it's like, hey, you're all the Phantom Thieves. And your goal is you're going to go steal a treasure now. Instead of defeating their boss, you get to steal a treasure from inside of them and pull them out, thus creating a better person.
Okay.
Because you're pulling out whatever, like, their most treasured possession is, and it kind of makes them collapse in on themselves.
Oh, damn.
And go, what is actually important. And, what, gets them to kind of admit all their guilt.
Okay.
So, all of these games kind of play out very similarly.
But we had that in the court system.
Well, and that's the thing. In Persona 5, they start dealing with the morals of doing that. So you see some cops kind of, go, this is not right. Whatever they're doing to these people, they're not going by the justice system.
Yeah.
And so, while you're going through the fifth one, there's all these, really cool, moments of, the team meets together and they're like, are we doing what's okay? Is this right for, society to be, going into the mind of criminals?
Yeah.
Going into their mindscape, seeing how they truly are. There's your first one is a... Spoilers. Your first one is a PE coach, and...
I remember that episode of the anime.
Yeah, and he's pretty abusive to the people who are on his team. In fact, you find out that one of the characters closest to you, he broke his leg in a fight, where the kid started it, but he obviously got handled by the
coach finished it.
Yeah,
Coach definitely finished it.
And you go into his mind, and he's basically in a castle, but all the kids are locked up in jail, and then the girl, and this is, Japanese for you, the high school girl that also joins you, he views as, he's dominating her.
Oh,
and
okay.
she will submit to his will in his own landscape.
There you go.
And so you adventure in, you go, I'm going to steal this guy's treasure, which is, his first trophy he ever won. You pull it back out, and he goes, hey, everybody, this is what I did wrong. Arrest me.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and, it's a really interesting idea for a game because it managed to combine so many different aspects because even with the monsters, you can combine them together and make new ones.
Okay, nice.
So it's a like if you were like new to the series, approach Persona 5, it'd be like, what the hell is going on? This is literally an anime in a video game.
Yeah.
But it ends up being like a really fun 150 hour journey through this crazy plot that they weave because it's almost Final Fantasy-esque. And I would definitely recommend it. Joker's going to be added to Super Smash, so why don't you play through all of Persona 5 before
we'll
Joker
see
gets added.
We'll see in a year. Whenever you finish that.
Yeah, and since you guys are unfamiliar with it, I mean, I'm familiar with both your games, and I feel like a lot of people are. Is there anything about Persona 5 that you guys were wondering about?
No, one thing that I liked about it was because I've seen some Watch Mojo spoils a lot of shit for me, but
good job, Watch Mojo.
Yeah, but one of the things that I did like about it, and I did notice about the dating simulator side of it, is that you kind of have these two different worlds, and I've always kind of liked that. Actually, one game that it reminded me, or
it's an isekai.
Well, one yeah, I know, right? one game that reminded me of Persona was this one called Catherine. I don't remember if you guys remember that.
Ooh, that's another kind
of that. Yeah, and so that I never played it. I watched a lot of Let's Plays of it because I was like, I'm never gonna buy this game, but.
It's a little creepy.
Yeah, and also I'm not a big puzzle kind of guy.
Yeah.
I wanted to know the story because it seemed super interesting, but so I watched some Let's Plays of it, and it was really I like that kind of idea of there's a dreamscape, and then you play there, and then you kind of get out of it. It's kind of like because in Final Fantasy, sometimes you go into a new town that's just completely neutral territory, and you're like, thank God, I don't have to fight anybody right now. I don't have to worry about grinding. I don't have to worry about any of that shit. Just do some normal fucking shit. But yeah, that's what I kind of liked. That's what's I guess appealed to me about it is the idea that it's got two different worldscapes to it, and you can kind of dig into both. And I think we were actually talking about Kingdom Hearts earlier, and I think that was one of the reasons why Johnny didn't like Kingdom Hearts 2 is that they had this whole part with Roxas in the beginning.
I just don't like the beginning.
Oh, you don't like the beginning of
Kingdom Hearts 2?
Yeah.
The Roxas thing is just I've done it enough. It's a little slow.
Yeah, it's
just it's cool.
It's just doing a bunch of jobs and kind of getting you familiar with it. And so yeah, I mean maybe they could have probably done it a little bit better. I'll admit it is kind of a long section of it. But yeah, so that was kind of what interested me a little bit about Persona. So anything you thought about, Johnny?
Well, not too much, honestly, because I've asked you, things here and there.
Yeah.
I've seen you play and stuff. But something I was just curious about right now. Roughly how many spirits are there in this game?
There's a lot. I mean, so there's the spirits you can collect, which I think there's about 10 to 12 per level. And Persona 5 specifically, there's 12 to 14. I have a bad memory right now because I played it 2 years ago. And it was a lot of hours. But I think there's 10 to 12 different palaces, which is what they're called, your mind palace, that you go through, and every time you go to a new one, there's another cast of, 10 to 15 new spirits. And then on top of that, the spirits can be fused together if you collect certain ones into special ones you can't collect until
Gracie, come here.
There's an anime non-casual outside.
I know, right? Get him, Gracie. Get him.
Casuals only.
Yeah, they're trying to get into our palace, man.
And those are each level tiers.
Come here, Gracie.
Hey.
That casual.
And so there's a ton. There are some that don't matter.
Yeah.
And there are some that are clearly way better than the rest. Some of their triple fusions. By the way, real quick, the way they fuse in this game, they're always different.
Yeah.
But the way they do it in this game is a guillotine. So they they wrap up the spirit and they bring them in this bound cloth over to a guillotine, and they bring the second one over to the other guillotine. They both drop at the same time, and their spirits go and then fuse together, and then your new creature spawns out.
Huh.
And that's why the other thing there's small little things I like about Persona.
Yeah.
In the third one or the second one, the way you summon your spirit is you take a gun to your head and you shoot, and then the spirit flies out.
You do it Borderlands style.
Yeah, and each one's different. Persona 5 is really cool because they have a mask on. Masquerade.
Yeah.
Just watch a lot of masks sing, a lot of masks. And they go, "Ah!" and they tear it off, and there's blood for a second on their face.
Jeez.
But then their spirit shows up, and their spirit's usually a historical figure.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Example: one guy is based on the same guy Jiraiya is based off of. The
Mhm.
guy who's like this, and then has a giant pipe.
Yeah.
And each one of them is really cool and interesting because they're some kind of crazy historical figure and then reimagined into a cool spirit that looks super awesome. One of them is just a motorcycle. And then later on, once you max out their relationship with each other, they transform into something new.
Oh, nice.
So my favorite girl in all of Persona 5 was Futaba, who's the hacker girl, who you helped because she's in massive depression because she thinks she killed her mom.
Oh, okay.
And hers is like a UFO, and it's called the Necronomicon. and then if you max her out, she changes into this weird dome with things all over it. And I forgot what it was called then, but I was like, whoa! It was so cool.
Nice.
So I mean, it really gives you that fill out of anime style where things are over the top ridiculous and the plot is what? But
it wouldn't be an anime without
it's really fun. So
nice.
I spent a long time talking about that, but it is a 150-hour game.
So go play it now, guys. We'll see you next year.
Any other games you guys want to throw out? Just games you wanted to mention?
I have a shout out to Kingdom Hearts 2. I mean, even though Roxas is a joke. I didn't play the other game, so he meant nothing to me. But, he was a nobody.
Damn, bro.
Yeah,
whoa, that's heartless of you to say.
Yeah, I think for me, one thing that I wanted to. Oh, copyright. But one game that I wanted to shout out was probably J-Stars. I haven't played Jump Force yet, but J-Stars for me, it was very repetitive, but it was one of those moments where you're just man, I'm watching fucking Gintama take on or Jintoki, sorry, and I'm watching him fucking take on Goku. What the fuck is going on here? And it had really funny things Jintoki being he finds Boa Hancock first, and so she makes him her basically her bitch, and so he has to because you meet her halfway through the game, and just seeing that kind of comedy duo, especially if you're Luffy, because then all of a sudden she wants to get on that dick because she's Boa Hancock. Of course she wants the Luffy dick, but she's forcing Jintoki to do all this stupid shit, and it works out pretty well. Just having all those fucking characters in one game. Really good.
Remember that game introducing at least a few anime?
Yeah,
telling me you
I watched.
Watching all the anime?
Yeah, I watched 2 or 3 animes based off of Actually, you know what's funny enough? Both of them were based off. Oh yeah, that's the Classroom. Both of the ones that I really got into were all based off of secondary characters, not even ones you can play. They just help you out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's probably the ones that we got. But stay tuned, guys, because in our next video we're gonna talk about our favorite Hokage, because they're hoes. All right, guys. Yeah, keep it casual.